But Deputy Lord Mayor, let's not beat around the bush. The majority of suicides happen to men. Currently, if you're a man in the UK under the age of 45, the biggest risk to your life right now is yourself. That is a shocking revelation. And while the suicide prevention strategy highlights that we need to encourage men to talk about their issues, I would argue it doesn't go far enough if we're not prepared to listen to them. Many people would argue there is currently a crisis of masculinity in this country, but not many people want to talk about it. Many children these days are growing up without any male role models whatsoever. 90% of single parents are female, 96% of parents who are fighting for custody of their children are men. You won't find any male role models in schools either. Only 25% of school teachers are men, and this is even lower in primary schools at 15%. Girls are much more likely to finish school with good grades. If you're a boy, you are 3 times more likely to be expelled. And men are also less likely to go to university. Men make up a lot of domestic violence victims as well, but there are only 93 spaces available for male refuge in comparison to 4,000 refugees for women. And of course, as we all know, 86% of rough sleepers are men, 84% of hidden homeless men are men. Men are much more likely to be victims of violent crime. 70% of the murders are men. 90% of workplace deaths are men. Men serve 64% longer prison sentences than women and are 4 times more likely to be imprisoned for exactly the same crime. Also, rape and sexual violence also affects men, particularly in the gay community. A recent survey has found that 62% of gay men have been groped without consent. And of course, if you're a man, you're much more less likely to come forward about such things. Lord Mayor, Deputy Lord Mayor, we don't just need to smash the stigma about men talking about their issues, we also need to smash the stigma about talking about men's issues. Full stop. There is absolutely no point in asking men to come out and open up about their feelings if we live in a society that will refuse to listen to them or even acknowledge that they can be victims. For far too long, our boys and young men, particularly from working class backgrounds, whether black or white, have systematically been discriminated against by academic institutions that have progressively been hijacked by political dogma and misandrous ideologies known as intersectionality. This, for generations, has fueled a lot of anger and bitterness, which I believe has directly contributed to the last decade of political decline. You can see this everywhere, from the rise of gangs and knife crime to the rise of populism on both the left and the right. This issue has been staring us in the face for so long, yet so many of us have chosen to ignore it, stepping over it like homeless people in the street, who ironically happen to mostly be men. Now, Lord Mayor, this is not about men, girls versus boys. I fully support women's emancipation, but you do not help women in female empowerment by ignoring men. These men are your brothers, they are your sons, they are your friends, and they deserve the dignity to be heard. Lord Mayor, it's time we put identity politics where it belongs in the bin, to start putting people into boxes, start treating people as people. Only then will you live in a truly plural society, and you cannot call yourself an egalitarian until we all start to acknowledge that boys have issues too. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. I call upon Councillor Alex Yip to second